My name is Adrianne Marcia Fernandez. I sing. People ask what I play sometimes, and I tell them I play the voice. But, I'm a singer. I've been a singer since I can't even remember.
Jesus, you are. Jesus, you are the way.
I've always loved music. When I was 5, I remember my favorite group, I idolized them, was In Vogue. And I used to love, me and my friends used to love reenacting some of their music videos, because at the time, music videos were still the big thing. They were huge. And we loved reenacting their songs and singing the parts. And I was 5 years old. What do I know about parts? But we sung them. Music has been the one thing that I could hold on to, that kept me straight. When I was sad, I would sing. When I was happy, I would sing. When I was frustrated, I would sing. Morning, noon, and night. And sometimes my mom would have to come in and say, "Okay, sweetheart, I think it's time to go to sleep." Everybody else is asleep. I think it's time for you to go to sleep too. You have school in the morning. So music was always there. It was always there. It was never a time where music wasn't there.
And you are the light, the peace in my mind, joy in my day. Jesus, Jesus, you are. Jesus, you are. There's no other way, God. 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 There's no other way, God.
Has your family always been from Augusta, or?
No, I'm a military brat. My mom's retired Army. We ended up here in Augusta in 1999. So since then I've been here, so I normally just tell people I'm from Augusta, Georgia. I have 3 sisters with my mother's side of the family, and then I have a brother on my dad's side. All of my siblings are younger than I am. I was raised in a very loving family with my mom. My grandparents were around a lot. They helped with us while my mom was a single parent. And I was diagnosed with diabetes when I was 8. I was separated from my mom and my sisters when I was 9, going on 10. Spent 3 years with my aunt. That's when we landed here in Augusta, Georgia, all together. Strangely enough, my grandfather was Army too. So my mom was a military brat. So after they went home to the Philippines, she decided to join the military also. I'm such a mama's girl. I love my mom. She's an inspiration to me. When I was growing up, I wanted to be just like her. I didn't know my dad. I don't think that there was a chance for me to be a daddy's girl. I love my mom. I think she's shown me how to be strong when you don't feel like you can be strong anymore. You still find something in you to be strong. You find reasons to be strong, and for her, we were the reason. She's definitely shown me how to be strong and independent and not depending on anybody else to do anything for you.
Is there anything from your past that might have helped you become the person you are today?
Oh yeah, being diabetic. Actually, this month marks 20 years. Having type 1 diabetes, and as a type 1, it's really tough. It's tough day to day. As the saying goes, the struggle is real. But that definitely helped to show me how strong I was, that even in the face of adversity and struggles, that I could still find room to be a normal person and have a normal life. And even though it takes me a little bit more to do simple things like work out or have a meal, I could still find room to do that. I think also being somebody who had an abortion, actually. I think that has a lot to do with it. I always said as a girl, I'm never going to be one of those girls, and then it manifested and it became who I was before I even knew what was going on. Mm-hmm. And that was a very, very big point. It was a very pivotal point for me. I think the last thing is the abusive relationship that I was in shortly thereafter. That really showed me that after 3 years of spending in abuse, after that, it showed me that I didn't need somebody to stand over me and command my every move. It was like there was a moment in time where everything had just exploded. He had a temper tantrum, and normally his temper tantrums were in private. but he had one in front of people. And so it exploded. He got kicked out of the house where he was staying with me and my family. And they didn't know about all this. So, because like I said, this was in secret. So it exploded, he got kicked out of the house, and I had time to think on my own and to realize, man, life is really great without him actually, and I don't have to call him back. And so that was the moment where I had enough time to think, where I feel like the divine, as I'll call him God gave me time to think about my life without him. When you don't have any value in yourself and you think somebody else values you because they're jealous for you in the wrong way, I think that we misinterpret that as young women who don't know any better and think that he loves me. He's doing that because he loves me, or he's jealous, but he cares about me. I think we mistake that for love, and I think that that's what I did because I'd never had a man who loved me before in such a passionate way, even though that was a negative passion. It really tears down your mental, it tears down your physical, it tears down your emotional, your spiritual, it tears everything about you down. So it's tough, especially because those who are on the outside looking in don't always know how to help you. I didn't understand what it meant to be loved by a father. I didn't know what that felt like. I didn't have any idea. The closest thing that I had to a father was my grandfather, but he couldn't always be there because he didn't really live with us. Mm-hmm. Not having my dad, I didn't have the chance to understand how much I was worth, how my value, that there was a man that did love me for the way I was. I think that missing out on him was a really big void that I wasn't aware of.
And who is this beautiful woman smiling back at me?
If I could talk to my 16-year-old self, I would just say, you are beautiful. I think that it was something that I wanted to hear. I didn't want to hear that things about me were beautiful. I did, but I think what I needed was to just hear that I was beautiful. Growing up, I didn't think so. And we have our opinions of people from the outside. We say, man, that person's gorgeous, he's handsome, they're good looking, they're great at this, they're good at that. But if that person doesn't think that they are, then it doesn't matter what anybody else says. And I didn't think I was. I thought I was ugly. And the reason I did was because I looked like my father growing up. And to me, he was an ugly man because he wasn't there. He wasn't a warm, welcoming father when I met him. And those things made me feel like he was ugly, unfortunately. And so if I was talking to my 16-year-old self, I'd just say, you're beautiful.
My name is Adrianne Marcia, and I'm fabulous.
My name is Carl Metellus, and she's fabulous.
The Most High King, ye are the light of the world. We are the city on the hill. We are the light of the world. We gotta let the light shine.
Do you plan to use Carl in your future career?
Oh, definitely. Carl is my chief musician. Carl has the ability, and I tell him this all the time, but he has this thing where it's like he's got the spirit of peace on him, and it's something that just comes naturally. You can just kind of be in Carl's presence, and it just seems to relax you. And I think that that's a powerful thing to have, especially when you're ministering to people through song, is you want to be able to usher them into a place of peace when they need peace.
We are the light of the world. We are the city on the hill. We are the light of the world.
Initially, I was studying music because I love music, but when I got into the program, I discovered it just wasn't for me because I'm not classically trained. And so I remember taking a communications class, the very basic class, and I found out that was something I was really interested in. And I decided, well, I'm not afraid of people. I'm used to being in front of people, so I think this is something I could do. I hope to go into public speaking, more specifically motivational speaking, and I still hope to find music after studying. I think that if I could make my dream career, it would be a combination of motivational speaking and music combined, and music would open up the door for motivational speaking. It's not like you can go on monster.com or something and see, looking for a motivational singer, speaker. You know, those things don't exist, and so it would be kind of one of those things that once perfecting your craft, I think that the demand would come on its own. Maybe they would go, wow, you seem to do this well and you seem to do that well. Could we get you to come and talk to some of our girls here at our church or at our middle school or whatever? And so I'm hoping, that's what I dream of anyway. But motivational speaking and singing are the two things that I hope to combine in my career. Because of where I've come from, the things that I've experienced in my life, my target audience would definitely be young women. When I say that, I mean from high school to college and even back down to middle school. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why, but I have this special place in my heart for middle school girls. I think that in middle school, the mold, as we call it in the society, the mold becomes relevant to the middle school girl, and all of a sudden she decides that something about her isn't good enough, it's not straight enough, it's not curly enough, it's not tall enough or short enough or slim enough, or there's just so many things that just aren't enough when you hit middle school. And that's where we're subjected to the mold. And all of a sudden we're disappointed with ourselves. And we weren't disappointed before. We were daddy's princess or mommy's little girl or whatever we were. And I think that in middle school it becomes a tough issue, especially because we're still learning how to be proud of who we are.
I know you're tired of pain. You wanna make it go away. Tired of seeing your daddy in the mirror every day.
So as a singer, do you have any songs that you've written?
Yeah, I've written so many. The recent one that I recorded was called Mirror, and it was based on an experience that I had when I was about 24 years old. I remember just having that epiphanal moment where I looked in the mirror and I was just like, gosh, the first time I told myself, you're so beautiful. And it was after many, many prayers of asking God to show me what he sees when he looks at me. And it was funny because I don't know what I was expecting, but my eyes were open and I was just looking at my face. My hair was everywhere. I still had my PJs on, and I mean, no makeup or anything. I looked at myself and I was just like, wow. And you would have thought I was crazy because I was like, oh, well, who is this? As if I was seeing my face for the first time. But it was just an epiphanal moment, and the song that I wrote was based on that. And like I said before, I thought that I was ugly because I looked like my father growing up. And for the first time, I wasn't looking at a face that represented my father's, who for me represented pain and abandonment and loneliness and all of the negative thing. That wasn't there in the mirror anymore. It was, man, this is what God made. And so it's a song called Mirror.
I think that after I learned how to forgive my father, I was able to allow us to have a relationship. I forgave him that year when I had that revelation in the mirror. I was just able to see my father in a completely different way. My dad is educated. He's done well for himself. He's very well spoken. He's very determined. And I think those are qualities that I get from him. I realize he can only try so hard until I just let him in. And as a girl, I need a father. Every girl needs a father. And he's the only father that I'm gonna get. I may have stepfathers or men who step in that position, but as far as my father is concerned, I only get one. Forgiveness has allowed me to nourish, to maintain, and to cultivate a healthy relationship with my father. And it gets better as the years go on. And I think that not only am I getting healing from it, but I think my father's getting healing from it. I'm the only daughter he has. I'm the only daughter that he's gonna get. I would be foolish to keep him from his little girl.
I spoke at a friend's church, and he was teaching a biblical series on identity. And he asked if I would address the young women. Mm-hmm. And I said, yeah, of course I will. I was very nervous because this was something that I had said I wanted to do, and all of a sudden it was becoming a reality. Mm-hmm. And so when I got up to speak to the people, all of the nerves that I had, they all disappeared, and they were focused into the message that I had for them. And I think that the message was a success. I had a friend of mine who just approached me, and she said, I really just want to learn to study the Bible more. I want to learn how to study the Bible. And I said, well, I'm not a professional, but I can teach you what I know, and hopefully those tools that I know can help you. And so I began teaching her, which led to teaching a few more people. And by the time I knew it, I didn't expect for this to happen, but I was teaching between 4 and 6 college-age young women. And I was teaching them foundational things about Christianity and even about ourselves as young women and why we should be proud of who we are and confident in who we are individually. My purpose in life, I think my purpose is to encourage young women to break the mold, literally, to just break it all to pieces and to show that the way that God created us was perfect, that God was a master crafter, that he didn't make mistakes, he didn't forget something, he didn't miss a left turn, or he didn't forget, this type or that type, or he chose everything on purpose, and he framed that with purpose, and I think that it's for me to share with people through my testimony that nothing was a mistake, that he didn't miss anything.
Where do you hope to be in the next 5 years?
The next 5 years, I hope to be speaking. I hope to be encouraging young women. I hope to have a name in the community. It's not really a big concern of mine to blow up and be some big nationwide, international name. It's not my concern. It's just to encourage the people that are right here, right here in arm's reach, to tell these girls that, hey, you can be proud of yourself. This is not a mistake. That's my goal. In 5 years, I want to be singing. I hope that people are encouraged by my music. I hope that girls find somebody positive to look up to now. That there's a woman out there who's singing. She's got a beautiful voice, and she's got she's pretty, and she's not taking her clothes off, and she's saying something good and something wholesome that people can attach themselves to. So I hope that maybe I'll kind of start a trend of positivity in the community.
Is there a person or figure in your life that has helped you in your darkest moments?
My greatest friend would have to be Tika. She's been the one that would jump out of her bed at midnight with her little boy in the back seat, and she wouldn't hesitate to come to my house or to spend hours on the phone talking to me, or even praying with me, or letting me just get it out. She just, she was just there in the dark times. And even right now, I'm kind of going through something now. I don't know that it's dark, but it's just definitely confusing. And she just called me yesterday, and she just called to check on me. And it was really nice, because I have very few people who are so intimately involved with my struggles. And she just called just to say, hey, how's everything going? I just wanted to hear from you.
What would be the last piece of advice you would give to young people, including men?
I think that I would say to all young people, when you live a life for Christ, you're not missing anything. I think that, in fact, you gain so much. You lose being afraid of things. I think you lose being disappointed. You lose chasing after things that will never come to you. You find something that's worth living for. You get to, you get to encourage people, and there's so much prosperity, not just financially. There's so much prosperity emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally, that comes with it. That there's a peace of mind that you get living a life for God, and that you're not missing anything, and your future has so much, there's so much more in your future with God in it than there is without Him.
name SongBird actually came from my cousin Shawnee. We went up to Virginia to go visit our family when I was 17, and I brought my best friend Cece with me at the time. And my best friend had this thing for putting me on the spot all the time and saying, hey, my friend can sing, you guys should listen to her. Hey, Adrianne, come over here and sing. And I would just sing, and my cousin said, you just seem to open your mouth and sing like a little songbird. And that's where the name came from, and it just seemed to stick.